Hi, everyone, and welcome to International Love Story, a podcast about long distance and multicultural relationships. You might hear some birds in the background, not just sitting on the opposite side of me. We're both working in our camper van, and yes, we are on the road since almost 3 weeks now, and it's the first time I've been working on a podcast episode since we are on the road. We are still in Germany, and the next stop will be the south of Germany, and after that, most probably we'll end up somewhere in Switzerland or Italy, maybe even Spain. We don't know yet exactly. But if we're somewhere close to you, just let us know, because we would love to meet you in person. Just go ahead and follow us on Instagram if you're not doing that yet. It's International Love Story, and you'll see where we are. Our first podcast episode, while being on the road, will be about a couple, obviously. It's about Yasmin and Shreyank. Yasmin and Shreyank, they met several years ago, and they're living in Canada right now. Jasmine is from Italy, Shreyank is from India, and they choose Canada as somehow a neutral ground, which I think is super interesting. We're going to talk a little bit about how it is to live there, and we're going to talk about a few challenges they had to overcome as Jasmine was moving to Canada right in the middle of the pandemic. Another topic we're going to cover in this episode is how it feels like to be left behind. And there are a few parallels in Jasmine's and Shreyank's story to Nacho's and mine. And we're going to cover this a little bit as well. But I totally understand what they are dealing with right now and how they're feeling. With this being said, we will dive directly into the conversation with Jasmine and Shreyank. What I think is very special about you guys is that you choose to live, but this is something we will talk about later, that you choose to live in Canada, like as a neutral ground, basically where you both started from scratch. But before we head into that, I would like to know a little bit more about you, like if you just could go ahead and introduce yourself to anyone who's listening right now.
Hello, everyone. My name is Yasmin. I am an Italian citizen, but I have a Brazilian family, and my partner is Shreyank Muddana Naik, an Indian, and we live in Toronto, in Canada, together. And it's been 6 months tomorrow that we are here together, and we started this journey. So.
Hi, I am Shreyank Naik. Um, I grew up in Bombay, in India, and spent basically all my life there. And that's where I met Yasmin as well. And I met her. My plan was to move to Canada, and then we both decided to work on it. And here we are now, 6 months living together after 1 year staying apart.
So you've been in a long distance relationship as well, and you also know how challenging it can be. Being in a long distance relationship, not knowing exactly when to close the distance, going through a bunch of paperwork. I know, Yasmin, that you are still waiting for your work permit to legally work in Canada, which hopefully might come soon. I would just like to start with your story. Like, how did you meet? What exactly happened for you guys that you both decided we are going to live in Canada, we will pull through it together? And what's your background in general?
Okay, so I met Shreyank when in I think it was
17.
October, October, September of 2008. But we met in 2017. I went to India for an internship. I was working for an Indian NGO, and I was supposed to spend only 3 months in India. But then I really like the culture and the place, so I decided to extend and to stay in India for other 2 months. So basically, at the end of my first 3 months, I met Shreyank. We met through an app, and we decided, we decided to meet. And it actually was also the first time for me, like doing something like this. And he was the only person I've met, and. Uh, we met. Our first date was not that great, to be honest. We were we were very shy person, and I think that from my side, I was maybe acting very cool, like I was, like
Yeah, like
cool
you were doing this all
yeah,
the
and
time, online dating.
yeah. I was acting very cool, and I mean, from his side, I guess he was very nervous and he wanted to impress me. So he was just talking and talking and never listening to me. And I was like, oh my God, this guy never listens. That's not cool. And so after the first date, I was like, I really don't know. But then I decided to give him like a second chance, and we met again, and we just went to have a chai, like an Indian tea, and it was actually nice because we talked. We were just, in a neutral place, because the first time we met, like in this type of a disco restaurant where the music was very loud. And at the beginning, I have an Italian accent. He has, of course, an Indian accent, and it's hard for the first time to understand each other. So we need to get used to how we speak English. So it was not very nice, the first meeting, but then
I mean, if I can add something, like, of course, the first meeting was not great, but somehow it became very memorable because I remember that on our first date, I was very nervous about everything, and I had reached that place half an hour before to ensure that we get a table there, and because it gets really crowded, and it was a Friday night, right? So, and I was already there, and during the date, I remember giving her a dare to eat a chili, and and I think even she wanted to impress, and she ate a chili, and she immediately started to cry. Yeah, there were tears coming. Then I had to rush to get a lemon soda, and so I thought, okay, Shreyank, you've made someone cry on the first day. There is no hope there, so you can, call it a day. But and also another memorable thing is, on that day there was a photographer of the club, and he was going around taking pictures of everybody, and he came and took a picture of us as well. And I felt, oh wow, this has never happened to me, and at that moment, oh, maybe this is a sign of some good things to come. And this is the first day, and that was a good feeling that I had in myself. And but yeah, and then the next day we saw the pictures on Facebook, and felt good. But yeah, it was memorable, not the best,
Not the
but
best, but
memorable one.
So
A good story.
it took a while for you to get warm with each other because there are two cultures. You do have, as you said before, you both have a very strong accent, which I love. I love listening to you, and it's just like, it's so confusing as well because I have the Italian accent on the right side and then the Indian accent on the left side, and it sounds so amazing if you talk to each other. It's like, oh, I love it. So it took a while for you to get warm with each other, even though if you heated her up by giving her a spicy pepper, or chili, actually, not even a pepper, a spicy chili.
Chili, yeah, a green chili.
I mean, Yasmin, what were you thinking of trying? I mean, I know you're Italian, you like it a little bit more, like when it comes to food, a little bit more spicy than we Germans. But what actually gave you the idea to try this chili in India?
Why? Exactly. I just wanted, I don't know, I was just acting cool. I remember I was acting really cool that date. I was wearing like this long dress, was wearing lipstick, which I normally never do. And so I was just, I don't know, I was just wanted to act cool and to show, yes, I am a foreigner in India, but I can handle it. I don't need any help. I can handle everything in this country. I was acting like this. And so yeah, but it's a good memory. We like sometimes like we are not very open to speak about how we met because there is this uh, not misunderstanding or stereotype against people who meet through a dating apps. But so sometimes we are not very open about that, but that's okay. I mean, like after 4 years we are still here, so that's completely fine. I mean, doesn't say anything about us. At the beginning it's a bit of a struggle because you think, okay, no, we need to prove that we are really like serious, like in this relationship, but that's fine. I mean, we are okay with that. And and also I decided to meet him a second time because, okay, it was a bit of a disaster, our first date. But still, like you can understand, I think, when you meet Shreyank, that he is a very genuine person. And I understood that from the first day. I understood he was trying really hard. So I just say, okay, that's very sweet in the end that he was trying. So let's try another time.
But what was it the other way around, Shreyank? What impressed you the most with Yasmin when you saw her the first time and the first date? What was it that you were like, okay, I have to see her again?
Yeah. So we were speaking for a week before we met. And throughout like speaking over that week, I had this idea of, I was really curious to know her as a person, because for me, someone who leaves Europe to come to India and work in an NGO which works in, like on the underprivileged areas of Bombay, that was very curious. And I could see that personality in her when I was speaking with her over the week. And when I met her, even though she was trying hard to impress, like eating a chili, but she seemed very genuine to me. And I could see that like the heart is clear, there is no pretense over there. I mean, it's a cool way to, okay, you can show off, but there is nothing that's fake about her. Even now, like I don't see anything like fake, or it's genuine over there. So that really impressed me, and I decided, and I always wanted to be with someone who's genuine and true to the heart. And that's the qualities I see. And yeah, I mean, makes me also feel good. I'm with a nice person like that. And yeah, and also I remember she looked very, very beautiful. still do. Yeah.
You're still in love, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, we have a fair share of fights, but that's all normal. Like it's always a balance. It has to be like that.
Yeah. How, I mean, talking about fights, because I remember when Nacho and I, when we moved together, it took around 6 months. And you just said, Yasmin, that you're living in Canada since 6 months, though reunited since 6 months, to adjust to several things, but also to adjust to my partner. And especially in the beginning, it's like you're just so overwhelmed with impressions, and you're trying to basically start from zero and make the best out of it. But then after 6 months, you adjust, and then you also get to know each other in a different way. At least this is how it went with Nacho and with me. This is also when it started for us fighting. I mean, it's not like we had major fights, but it was like stupid things. For example, socks on the ground, and I got mad with it, and I told him, hey, please pick them up. And, like all those little things. And you were never thinking that you could basically that you would be in such a position, because for such a long time it seemed so far away for us to close the distance, and suddenly we did that, and then I got mad with stupid things like that. Not for long, but maybe for 30 seconds or so, whatever. How is it in your relationship?
It is like this, and to be honest, we had a rough last month. Like this month was not very easy for us, and because we were feeling that, like it's the first 6 months together. I mean, at least from my side, and I don't know. I think that also mentally in my head, I said, okay, let's. The first 6 months were my first mental deadline, and I just wanted to see the improvement in our relationship, in my immigration situation. But after 6 months, it's still everything very uncertain. So I think that I just, had a mental breakdown, and we were just super overwhelmed with this situation, and we were keeping having this small stupid discussion, and maybe not talking to each other properly for 2 days, and it was just insane. Honestly, we just yesterday we said that's enough. We had a terrible April, so let's start again with May. And it's been difficult, to be honest. Yes, also because we were waiting for so long, for 1 year, to just close the distance, and then honestly we had to jump into like closing it, because they were allowing me into the country, into Canada. So I just packed my bag and came. And so it was very sudden for us just to change all our lives and to start a new life together from zero, like this. And sometimes when we have these little fights like this, or we are just so bored, there is nothing to do, and we just remember our situation of 1 year ago, when we were just dying to stay together, or just to get bored together. And and it's still a work in progress. It's not easy. I mean, the first period.
Yeah.
I don't know about you.
Yeah, I mean, 6 months, to be honest, is not a lot of time when you're living together. As you said, it's like the trial period. I mean, you need at least 6 months to get to that vibe where you're getting to know what the other person doesn't like. So you get to learn and make sure. So I know a lot of small things which I probably took for granted, but Yasmin won't like it. But now I hope I'm making progress there. But the important thing to know is this is normal. There is no such thing as a perfect couple and a perfect relationship, in my opinion. There are no two people, even if they are from the same cultures, right? There are no two people who are the same. It's in the end like you get to know each other, and you make those changes in yourself. I mean, that's what living in a family is, right? I mean, you have to make these small changes, small things which make both of us happy. And we also have to think in the future, like we have to invest in this relationship. We have to trust each other, and live together, enjoy life. Fights will happen, but in the back of your mind, you should know that these fights are temporary, and in the end we will patch up, and we will move on. And this fight will also be kind of a memory which after 1 year we'll talk, oh, when we first moved here for the 6 months, we fought a lot, like it will be a memory like that. Like, that's my opinion. That makes sense.
Yeah. And I do think, I mean, you are in a very special situation, to be honest. I mean, you moved to Canada, Yasmin, when all this COVID thing just started a couple of weeks before, a couple of months before. We hope for the best, that things will calm down soon. I don't know about the current situation in Canada, but at least here in Europe, things are slowly calming down, in at least most of the countries. So you were together 24/7 almost. And I know that you, Shreyank, you were working most of the time while Yasmin stayed at home, which can be a lot of pressure as well. So you do have a lot of time in your hand. You can't go anywhere. You don't have a working permit. You can't. You wouldn't be allowed legally even to apply for jobs or to do anything about it. So you can't change the status quo. And how did it make you feel, especially the first few months when you took care of all this and tried to figure it out?
Honestly, terrible. I mean, honestly, really terrible. When I came here, I was just thinking, okay, I will be the happiest. Finally, I'm with Shreyank. But then, I mean, after the second day, I was feeling terrible. I say, oh my God, what I'm really doing here? Like, there is nothing for me. I was like really feeling trapped. And because I couldn't do anything, because nothing was really in my control. Because for the immigration, I just had to wait. And as I decided also when I moved to take to ask for psychological help. So, and I've recently completed 6 months of therapy, just for to help me to support with this process of moving and settling and in my new reality. And what I decided to do is basically to try, like, also what my therapist suggested. She said it's not true that everything is not under your control. You can control small things around you, how you just focus on that day that you have in front of you. And it's not easy to apply that, but I'm trying to do that. In the sense, I'm trying also to focus on the things that makes me happy. So since I can't work, but I can volunteer. So I started doing some volunteer works. I deliver food to our to elderly people in our neighborhood, or people that for social reasons they can't step out of their houses. So this helps me because I feel good. Like, I'm honestly a person that always like to do some charity work. So this is a trait of also my personality. So here I can still do that. I'm since 6 months I'm volunteering. I'm going outside. I'm meeting people. I'm also discovering another side of Canada, Toronto, that looks like always these amazing place, but also has some inequalities inside the community. And then another thing that I started doing, I started writing. I like to write, and I was just writing for myself. Then I said, okay, let's try also, to do something bigger. So I decided to open a blog and to talk about, what I'm experiencing, my immigration situation, living with Shreyank, and so on. And this honestly also helped me a lot. Like, I'm keeping myself occupied, and it's also something nice. Like, to be honest, when I'm also starting to give some interviews, I also can speak about my blog, and many people are actually interested in that, and it's nice because they see that I'm just trying to do something. So I just decided to focus on the things that makes me happy. And so it's like being helpful with the others, or writing. It's not easy, of course, because sometimes I just like what I'm really doing, but there are like the situation, it's not the same, like compared to when I came here, because I had an improvement with my visa, and it got approved, but it's not it's not here yet. So it's not that it's better, of course. And yeah, it's not easy, of course, because it's like we decided to start from zero. but we are at the stage where sometimes I see that like Shreyank is moving very like fast, and I'm still behind. So I start a bit shaking, but yeah. But we always focus on the long term. Still, like we take like day by day, but still we know that we want to stay together, and we want like to stay in our family. Like we are a family, and we want to stay together, and we know that things will be fine. So yeah. So we know that, and yeah.
It's just like what you're just describing just brings back so many memories, because when I moved, and now I have to think about it, like 2017, which was 4 years ago, to Miami, I also started writing. I started a blog, which is not online, by the way, anymore, but it was just something for me to share my experience, to note down how my days in Miami look like. And what you were just saying, Jasmine, saying that you see Shreyank moving forward and moving quite fast, because we talked about it the last time when we had the pre-call, that he has a good job in Canada. Obviously, like everything is running quite smooth for him. And then you feel like you're just behind everything because you're still waiting for your papers. So you're not allowed to work. There's also not so many ways to make friends right now, all those things. The social life is also missing. It's a big part, obviously. Just I when you were just describing how you feel, I had a very heavy heart. Let me say it like this, because I know the feeling, and this feeling sucks. It just sucks. It's so heavy, and it's something you have to deal with, and at some point you don't even know how to handle it. It's just there, and you have to stay positive, and everyone around you tells you what to do and how to stay positive, and you try to take all those good advices, and you try to basically schedule your day, and but then there are days you're like, okay, I'll get up at 2 p.m. So whatever, I don't have anything planned for the day. So what is there really left for me? And then you see your partner, as you just said, moving forward, very focusing, being fulfilled in professional wise, or so whatever. And you just think like, what am I actually doing here? Why am I even here? And obviously, you made a decision. You made a decision because you want to live together. And you always like, okay, there's this goal of living together, but some days it just sucks. And especially if everyone around you tells you, yeah, but it can't be so bad, and just see the positive of it, la-di-la-di, and you're like, no. I just want to feel all those feelings right now and just leave me alone. At least this is how I felt. I don't know if you can compare.
No, I'm really grateful that you can understand my position, because it's not really easy to empathize with that. Because I'm still, in a lucky situation. I am with Shreyank. We have this nice house. We are in Toronto. So it's not easy. It looks like I always complain, but it's not. And I'm really trying my best. And another thing I would like to add is that I really think it's more difficult when you are a woman, because there is all this judgment that, oh, I see, she left everything for the partner, she doesn't focus on her career, she doesn't want to be independent. That it's not like this, and I also had to fought a lot against this all this bad prejudice against me. And it's not like this, I took my decision. It's not easy, but it's not like, if for this moment, of course, like this, our family, it's my priority, but it's not like my career or everything that I want to do in my life, like I forgot about it. It's still there, like, and everything that I'm doing, like, there are very small steps, but I still think that they will lead me to, like, my professional goals and so on.
How is it on your end, Shreyank, when you see Jasmine having a rough day and maybe even a mental breakdown, not feeling well. So how do you feel?
Sometimes you feel helpless. To be honest, like we actually had this conversation this week. So sometimes I feel a bit of pressure in the sense that I see it as okay, we are doing what we can, what's in our control, we are able to do it. And when the topic comes where she is sharing some things, how she feels, that she's in a very difficult place. For the first times, we try to empathize with each other. We listen, but eventually, what happens is, I think it's normal to behave like this. Is at least I have reacted like this. Okay, it's getting too much for me. Where and it's not that I'm complaining and I'm asking her to okay stop complaining, but it does look like that. Where okay, I have working 10 hours a day, and after that I do listen to you, but it seems as if you're just complaining about it. I'm sorry that you have to go through this, but let's stop talking every day about this situation. But I agree that's wrong, because when someone is feeling that way, you have to listen to them. And sometimes what I have behaved is I have uh, to be in the most literal sense say, okay, I can't take this anymore. Let's not talk about it. Let's talk about something else apart from immigration worries and everything. Because after 12 hours of work, 24 hours, let's not talk about the same thing.
Yeah.
But I agree that, and we just discussed about this just yesterday, where we saw the tables turning a bit, because yesterday I was feeling a bit low, and I told her about this, and then she said, oh, you know what, there's a lot of things happening in my life about my immigration, and I can't listen to you right now about that. So it was like the same situation but reverse. But how I feel is it's good that we have this conversation where we are at our kind of say worst. I mean, like supposedly very angry and frustrated. It's good because we know the extreme side. And but in the end, we all hugged each other yesterday, and we made a plan. Okay, let's not have these fights anymore. Let's be more empathizing. But I don't remember if I answered your question. I don't know.
No, you did.
Okay.
You did. What I just
Okay.
love is and I really appreciate it, is that you're so honest, because I
Yeah.
can only imagine being completely honest about how you're feeling. And what you were just saying, like after 10 hours of work, you don't have you don't want to get your mind off other things and concentrate on positive things. And having someone sitting at home being frustrated, sad, it's a lot. Let's be honest, it's a lot. And I also know how this feels like. So I understand right now. I do understand both sides. In the end, what do I do think, and I will always remember this. And this is also something where Nacho and I, when we shared our story in the first podcast episodes, is when we had, there was one specific moment I remember where suddenly for me things changed a lot. And so in our case, it was like we moved to our very own apartment. So no roommates anymore. So because the roommate situation before was a huge, ballast. So it bothered me a lot because I was the only woman in there, So, and then we finally moved, but I wasn't happy. So I thought, okay, with this step, I will be happy. But then I figured I'm not, because I still didn't have a job, I didn't have friends, and there were so many things. I didn't feel comfortable in Miami, ladi, all those things. So I had another breakdown, which I had several ones in Miami, which I do think is normal as well. And Nacho was like, he sensed that this is just too much. And he sensed like at some point it has to end, because at some point you have to look forward and build a life together, And he told me, like, Christina, listen, right now, I am always a few steps ahead of you. Same situation you are in right now. So Shreyank is a few steps ahead of Yasmin. And he told me, no matter what, I will wait for you. And the moment we are going to be next to each other again, we are going to keep on walking. So just be sure I'm here for you. I will wait for you, but you have to get your things in order and make sure that you follow me to the step where I'm waiting for you, you know? And that was something I remember like it was yesterday. I will never forget how he was standing in front of me. He wasn't pity about me or anything. He was just like, get your shit together, make sure you're going to walk next to me again, and then we'll be fine, you know? And suddenly from there on, it shifted, even the way that he was like, okay, now I feel like you are walking miles in front of me. And I was like, yeah, I know, I'm gonna wait for you. And suddenly, or at some point, you will catch up with me and then we will walk together. You know, same situation, because at some point it's like one is always kind of leading the relationship. One person is always driving the car, you know, and it's just a shift. And this is something I will never forget, and this is exactly how it happened. And sometimes it just takes a while. Especially, I mean, you're in a very special situation. You are in such a special situation right now, with the whole situation going on right now in the world in general. And I just think it's just amazing to see like what an open communication you have, and you, Shreyank, being like, okay, listen, let me be honest with you. I had a hard day. I can't handle it right now. And of course, that might lead to another discussion, because it's difficult. It's very difficult. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's and yeah, yesterday, I mean, I also understood that I was really, it's not that I have been selfish, but I was really like focused on myself. And I didn't really realize how, you know, how heavy it can be also for him. And I think that yesterday I understood that, because, you know, during weekends I always try to be, you know, I don't want to think about immigration stuff. I just want to enjoy the weekend. And he was feeling a bit low, and it was very bad. I mean, from my side, he was just talking, expressing. I was like, no, I am positive today. I don't want to listen to this. And it was really not cool, but, you know, well, thanks to that situation, I could really understand how he feels sometimes. So we will just try, you know, to keep a balance, and to work more on the communication, and you know, everything that you share about, you know, how Nacho said that thing to you, that you know, he will wait for you, and it's just very, you know, true and useful also for us. So thank you.
Yeah, of course. It just, as I said before, this is a conversation we had years ago, and I still remember clearly. And this is exactly how it is up to today. And there are days he feels down, and there are days I feel down, you know, and it's just about supporting each other and also understanding each other's situation. And sometimes I do think that it's also important to, not sometimes, always, to be honest and to be like, okay, like, you've cried enough, just get your shit together and move forward. You know, sometimes you just need a little kick into the ass. And this is what I needed. Let me be honest. I needed it. I needed him to tell me, like, Christina, we can't change the fact. Just get it together. You know? And in the moment I was mad. I was like, how can you say such thing to me? But then I was like, yes. And like days later, when everything worked out the way it did after all, and everything developed amazingly, like to a point where I didn't even expect I was capable of pulling through stuff like this, you know? I was like, yes, he was so right. And it just takes a few days or even a few months to realize, but you will get there. Yeah. So I feel like we also just jumped, like, because we we were just talking about how you guys basically met. I just love how we jumped from one to the other. How you just been ate a chili. And then you were in a relationship and you stopped dating, and now you're in Canada. What I would also like to know is, because as I understand, Shreyank, when you start dating, for you, it was clear that you're going to move to Canada, right?
Yeah,
Already?
I mean, I was serious about it. Yes.
Okay.
While I was working in Bombay, I had made up my mind saying the next job I find won't be in India, it will be abroad. So that's the way I looked at it, and I just wanted to experience life here and move a bit slower life than Bombay. So yeah.
And Yasmin was aware of it.
Yeah, like he told me about, I think, his plan at the first date, and
right after the chili.
Yeah. I mean, I've always, like, when we met, I was 23, I mean, almost 24, and I was in India, and I had this, for me, it was fine. I mean, I was just sharing about his plans, and I've always, seen my life living abroad. So I was like open to any type of country. And I mean, we started like, because I realized that from the Chile we jumped to Canada. So, so I mean,
that was my fault, but I just
no. Okay, I will just try. I mean, to reconnect some points. We start after a second date. We were basically always together. Like, I only had 2 months in India, and we knew that, and we were like, let's stay together, like, let's enjoy the time together, and then let's see how this relationship will go. And we really enjoyed, like, it was super fun. Like, it was very nice to just spend time together. We traveled a lot. We went to North India. We were, like, during weekends going for romantic gateways. So it was really nice. A lot of fun. And just in the end, we were like, okay, I mean, what's next? And we said, okay, let's try to have a long distance relationship. Let's see. We were open about that, and let's see how things will go. We were not like, okay, after 2 months, I mean, it was nice, bye, let's have our own life. We were open to see how long distance relationship could work for us. But we were also very clear that this was not forever. I mean, forever in the sense, the long distance relationship, we needed to have, like, to close the gap very soon. So we started the long distance relationship, and we stayed far for 1 year, like, between Italy. I was in Italy, and I was in India. We visited in between, in the sense it was a proper long distance relationship. He came in, like, I went back to Italy in December. He came to visit me in March for my graduation. He stayed 2 weeks in Italy, and then
You went in November.
No, I went in December.
In December 2018 or when
2017, and then we met again in March
18.
18, exactly. He came for my graduation, master graduation.
2 weeks.
2 weeks, and then we said. Then we met again in July in India. I came for 1 week, and in July, and 1 week. It was like basically 5 days.
For my brother's wedding, so it was very hectic for me as well.
Yeah, it was
a lot of things to do. Like, it's an Indian wedding with like hundreds of people in the wedding. And
how many?
How many
people?
I think easily 400 easily.
Okay, but is that considered as a small wedding in India, or is that
no? It's considered as a normal wedding.
Okay,
100 people is less.
Okay.
And Yeah, he came in July, and then no, I went to India in July, and then he came to Italy in late of September, and he stayed for 1 month. And it was honestly very cool because also for that 1 month we rented an apartment and we stayed together
For
like
1
for
month.
one
Yeah.
month really. And then we stayed
Wow.
far for quite a long time because I got a job opportunity in India.
Mhm.
And so in March, I moved to India and I stayed there for 1 year.
Ah, okay.
So yeah, so we just were thinking, okay, let's wait a bit because in the end we will stay together for a long time. And we stay together, I think, for I mean, in the same city. We're not living together, but at least we were like in the same city, like a normal couple. Let's say you were coming to visit me after work, meeting for dinners and stuff like this for 8 9 months. Because after that, he went to Canada. So for 4 months, we were having a distance relationship, Canada-India, where I was in India and he was in Canada. And then in March of 2020, no, in February 2020, I came back to Italy
Mhm.
with the idea of moving to Canada the
Mhm.
next month, but then the pandemic happened and we had to stay far for 1 year. And yeah, sorry, I just reconnected a bit the dates and
Mhm.
so on. But yes, I mean, from also like the first year of long distance relationship, he was completing his paperwork for Canada. And we knew it that like the plan was that for us to move together to Canada was
Okay.
always that.
Mhm.
Also, when I had the opportunity in India, he actually postponed his travel. So he came to Canada in the last month that he could travel to Canada with his
Mhm.
visa.
Mhm.
So we tried to make it work also like this. And the plan was always that, like to have a long distance relationship, but in the end to move together to Canada
Mhm.
and to stay together here.
Mhm.
Because yeah, it looked the best plan, to be honest, because I mean in Italy we just couldn't stay because we needed to get married. I mean, to stay in Italy like this. And in India, I try, like when I had that job opportunity, we stay together. But as much as I love India, and sometimes we think of having a life there, it's
Mhm.
at the same time very, very difficult.
Mhm.
And and also it's very difficult from a social point of view. Like it's not easy to be a couple not married in India.
Mhm.
And it's not easy to find an apartment, to be honest, where they will rent a place for us. And so that's why like the plan to move to a third country, which like we both of us could afford a visa and so on, it made more sense to us.
Mhm. So after
Now,
all, like I mentioned before, you choose neutral ground.
yeah,
Yeah.
it just brings back some memories for me about the initial thought process for Canada.
Mhm.
Like, um, in the start, when we were having the conversation, so in the end, the process for the Canadian PR, I got kind of lucky
Mhm.
because given my so the I might get a bit technical for 5 minutes. Sorry
Mhm.
about that. But
No
the
worries.
Canadian PR works on a points based system where if you have a master's degree, you get
Mhm.
more points and you become eligible to get the invitation to apply for a PR, permanent residency. And my profile was as such. I have done a course called the CFA, which is a financial certification. But for the Canadian PR, they don't recognize that as a master's. So they considered me as a bachelor, and my score was not there to get a invitation to come here.
Mhm.
So while I was just trying to be positive, I think to myself, okay, let's continue to do it. If the scores reduce, I'll come and see how it goes. So while we were together, um, the cutoff for the PR was very high. It was around 475 or something,
Mhm.
and my score was around 440, no, 438. So there was a 30-point gap.
Mhm.
And in between, I had to give my English exam. The first exam did not go well. So I gave the English exam again, and that exam went really well. And because of that, I got a score of 441. And that time, the cutoff was 440.
Oh,
So yeah,
1 point more than needed.
1 point more.
Wow.
And yeah, and I remembered when I got the invitation, we were in Italy. I was in Italy, and it was like a surprise, because for me that thing was supposed to happen after months, but it suddenly happened one day. I have the email coming in. You have the ETA. You submit these documents, and you'll have your PR, things like that. So yeah, I mean, so coming to the point, in the initial start, while we had this plan to move to Canada, it wasn't certain that Canada will take me, because I did not know if my points would qualify or not. But then luck happened, and here we are.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, it's true.
if Canada did not give, I think what would we have
Yeah,
done?
now I think, now like we give for granted that he's
Exactly.
in Canada, but that's true. I mean, it was a very it was a work in progress, and let's see. I mean, I was always positive about you getting it to Canada, so I was like, I don't know, like somehow I could really see us here, so that helped us, and yeah, it's true.
What visa is it, Yasmin? You are in Canada right now.
So at the moment I'm still a visitor. So I came through the extended family reunification.
Okay.
So that's how I managed to enter Canada during the pandemic. It's an exemption because the Canadian borders are still closed. But I got my working holiday visa, which was the visa I applied to come here initially.
Okay.
And to be honest, I mean, because I still don't qualify for the PR, because I don't have the 3 years of continuous work experience that they ask for. So that it was the best visa for me. I applied for that, and it got approved, but I still need to get it. I mean, to be honest, it's not the best visa in the sense that it's for 1 year, and the work permit it's for 6 months. So it's still very uncertain, but it made it sense back then, and we also will be applying for the sponsorship, in the sense that we will be recognized as a common couple.
Okay.
Common law couple. So he will basically sponsor my visa. So this will take time, but still, like before, we know that we will come to an end. Like I will be able to get a work visa before, and then I will also get my PR. So still a work in progress.
How is Canada in general when it comes to couples like you? Because you are not married, so obviously, like, you do have a relationship. So for me, and this is something that makes me mad quite often, to be honest, because I couldn't have lived in the US if not shown I wouldn't have been married. It was never a goal of mine to get married. So in the end, we got married for me to get the papers, to be honest. And I know this is something a lot of couples are doing. And what makes me mad is that a relationship is not recognized as such thing. Like it has to be a marriage. It has to be on paper, How is Canada a little bit more open towards that?
From my side, I would say yes. I mean, it took a lot of time, like almost 1 year, for Canada also to recognize like the reunification of unmarried couples. But in the end, it happened. I mean, and I think there are less than 20 countries in the world that recognize that. It took a while, but they did. And it's honestly like we feel also as a non-married couple, but also as an international couple, who feel fine here, in the sense that like, of course, we can't really like explore and experience the Canadian culture with the lockdown, but like also while like just walking, you could feel the vibe that it's an open-minded place.
Mhm.
And we also live in the village, like that's called a LGBTQ plus area. And it's really nice because you could see, all these community centers for civil rights and so on. Yeah, and you feel the vibe of diversity. It's actually it's okay here. And we really appreciate that of living here. And also this fact that after, okay, they ask like after 1 year of living together, you are a couple, which is, still okay. I mean, after still 1 year, we are recognized a couple, and he
Yeah.
can sponsor me, and it's a nice thing. Like in Italy, it's not like this.
Mm-mm.
And
No.
it's honestly very cool. And like any type of couple can apply, in the sense binational couples, gay couples, and it's very cool.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I agree with that. I mean, in terms of recognition of all kinds of couples, it's very progressive here in Canada,
Mhm.
And I mean, when we were doing research, like anyone can get married here. I'm not sure about different countries, but here, if you get your passport and if you're above 18, two different nationalities can come and get married here and have their marriage registered here, and it's accepted. And same-sex couples they have all the rights, and yeah, I mean, in that way, it's very inclusive.
Yeah, sometimes I feel guilty because like I'm very mad at Canada, in the sense that with the immigration, I'm always on Twitter complaining about when it's my visa ready and so on. But yeah, it's also because of the pandemic that we are in this situation, and it's taking a lot of time. But we recognize that, I mean, that's also the reason why we choose to stay here, because it's open towards us. I mean, it's open towards diversity.
Mhm.
And yeah, and we really recognize that, and we are grateful actually.
Mhm. Yeah, because that's, as you just said, 20 or 21 countries right now worldwide who recognize
Yeah,
a
I don't
couple
remember the
that's not
name, but
married. Yeah.
very less. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
And
pretty sure India is not one of those.
Yeah, India it's not. Italy, it is.
Italy is, yes. Italy is.
Mhm. How is the situation in general in India right now? May I ask, Shreyank? I'm sorry that I'm changing topics again,
No,
but
no,
first of all, my thoughts are with you because I know your family
thank you.
is in India, and there's a lot you're going through right now. I mean, as a couple living in Canada right now, Yasmin trying to adjust to several circumstances, and Shreyank, your family and India basically suffering a lot right now.
Yeah, I mean, how I see it is, so now the pandemic is in its 1.5, like it's 1.5 years.
Mhm.
Last year, when the pandemic was starting in India, um, the conversation was, oh, we are Indians, we are strong. I mean, it's a flu, it won't really affect us, right? We eat spicy food, nothing will happen to us.
Mhm.
And that was more or less the conversation going on. And no one knew that it's going to take this long. And overall in my family as well, so my mom used to work in a bank, so she had to go to the bank, meet a lot of people and exposed to a lot of people. So I was kind of worried for my mom, but in the end they were not as worried as me. They were like, it's okay. And also a lot of people I knew, they were not so affected by COVID. So I
Mhm.
was making calls with my family friends back home, they were not so affected by it. So I
Mhm.
thought, okay, it's happening, but not a huge concern.
And your friends and your family, they weren't even really concerned about it last year, and
They were
especially.
not, to be honest, they were
Mhm.
not. Like
Mhm.
some people had it and they recovered very quickly.
Mhm.
Like it's one thing to just be COVID positive, and it's another thing to actually experience all the severe symptoms. Because most of my friends, they were positive, but nothing happened to them. I mean, they were all fine.
Mhm.
And but now what happened is, this year, luckily, my parents are actually in America right now. because they are with my elder brother, and he had a baby, so they are with him visiting, and they got their COVID vaccines, which is great. So they are there with him. It's really good. Otherwise, if they were alone in India, I would be shaking right now. But they are there. They are safe. And right now, the situation in India is every other friend I'm speaking to knows for sure someone who's affected by COVID, but they also know someone who has died, which was not the case last year.
Yeah.
So people are dying for sure. The major problem is they are doing some work now. In India, it's always like this. It's like a knee-jerk reaction to things. They could have built more capacities for oxygen and other ventilators, but they did not do that. By I think December, they thought the daily infections were coming down. So they thought we have defeated the virus. So they just opened up everything. Things in Bombay were normal. In Instagram, used to watch people going out, chilling, going to Goa, going here for vacations. Everything was normal. And then the wave started picking up again. So now, but yeah, I mean, hospitals, they were in a bad shape where a lot of stress was placed on the healthcare sector, not enough beds available, not enough ventilators available. But I was reading some news articles today. It's getting better, but could have been managed much better. It should not always have been knee-jerk reaction. They could have, at least they have the vaccine, which is good, but it's getting better now. Yeah.
Yeah, as I said before, I'm really sorry to hear that. And when I heard the news, I was immediately thinking about you as well as about some other friends of mine, because as you guys know, due to the podcast, we're connected with a lot of people. It's just I don't know what to say. It brings tears into my eyes to see that people have to suffer. And as I said, I also had to think about you immediately when seeing the news the other day and seeing how things are developing in India. I'm glad that your family is fine, that your family is still in the US, and that they got vaccinated, which is amazing, which is really awesome. But yeah, it's just like you guys are going through so much right now, and you're still sitting there, and there's a bond between you, holding you together, making you go through it together, which I think is so important, so that you can rely on each other, and that no matter what, the other will be there and has my back in any situation, and this is a very tough situation, especially nowadays. Oh my. Yeah, as I said, I'm very sorry. I'm just jumping right now from one topic to the other. But it's just something. Yeah, just feel like it's important to talk about, as well as life is life,
It's affecting everyone right now.
Yeah, it's part of our life.
I'm very glad your family's fine. I'm glad your friends are fine as well. I'm glad, or I'm happy for you guys, and it's great to see how you're managing life in general right now. And I'm also curious about what life will bring you in future. Because it seems like you do have big plans. You're planning, obviously, to stay a little bit longer in Canada.
Of course.
Most probably as long as possible, or what is the actual plan right now?
You want to start?
Yeah. Yes, I mean, it's a long-term plan. I mean, we want to settle here, and that's the intention. We are here right now. It's not an experience that we want to have. We live here, then see where to go. No, I think we want to settle here. That's the plan, and I think over the long term is going to work out well, because there are opportunities in this country. It is a developed economy, and jobs are there in her sector as well. I mean, it's going to take time. As you said, it's about waiting at the end, where one partner is a bit ahead. He has to wait. it's the same. Like that's how I see it.
Mhm.
And in terms of money, because the most practical thing is money,
Mhm.
um, for me, definitely this is way better than India,
Mhm.
and way better than India. And for me myself, I can see me growing professionally, which really helps when you want to have a family and you want to settle down, buy a house, do things like that, right? And I hope it's the same for you. I mean, like because she comes from a developed economy. I mean, she
Mhm.
comes from Italy, but maybe I'm biased, but I think Canada is better than Italy because in the end there is a lot of immigration happening here. More talented people are coming in. It will grow. It will always
Mhm.
grow. Country
Mhm.
that welcomes immigrants will grow.
Mhm.
And in my opinion, still I feel sometimes that Italy is a bit old school, and I don't know. Okay, I don't know. In the sense that where there are so many things happening, they're willing to give a chance to people, right? Because if you think about it, I did all my education in India, all my work in India, but here the healthcare. I work for a hospital.
Mhm.
UHN is a hospital.
Mhm.
It's a group of 5 government-funded hospitals, and I work as a financial analyst there.
Mhm.
And they decided to give me a chance, and
Mhm.
it's not even 3 months in the country, and they decided to give me a chance like that. And I don't think that is something to be taken for granted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it will work for us, I think. You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I laugh about no, I laugh because I mean we are very practical people like
Mhm.
like Shreyank and I. Like he says that I come from a country like Italy that is like a developed country, but I still come from a family of immigrants. So I come like my family it's Brazilian, and I've like grew up in a family of Brazilians.
Mhm.
And for us, future and plans they are very practical because we were not being experienced to practical and easy stuff. Our families really struggle to give what we have
For sure,
today,
yeah.
Mhm.
and I think that it's also something that we have in common. It keeps us also together, this thought that we really need to do something good and also be economical independent also to help our families.
Mhm.
And me and him we have this thought a
Mhm.
lot. I am more a naive person, so before meeting him I was I've always my dream is also to work in the international education sector, so I was really open to spend 1 year in Africa, 1 year in South America, and so on. Then after meeting him, adapt my plan and so
Mhm.
on. And but still in my head I always had this thought like I can be naive, but at a certain point, because I come from a family where it's not always easy to afford the type of life I dream.
Mhm.
And we really, both of us, we have this thing of do something from work wise to help our families. And yeah, in my future it's very hard because we want to settle down to remove the thought of immigration. Then I really want to experience what I can see that it's the potential of Canada. I would like, if I have to dream big, I dream of completing a PhD, starting a PhD in education. I would love to do that, but I know it will take time because I will need to save money. I need to get my PR, so it might take 1 to 3 years to do that. And but it's okay. After that, I will do. And in this sense, and yeah, we like to have a house. Like for us, it's very like important to have our own house. For the same thing that we come from two backgrounds where to have a house, it's really like the dream, and having like my mother in Italy, we were keeping moving from a different houses, always renting it. So we never had our own place. So for me, it would be like a dream, to have a house that it's mine. And maybe we're like thinking to explore more Canada, in the sense we just don't want to stay in Toronto,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe also more in the outskirts,
Scotia.
or like living in Nova Scotia, or places with beautiful landscapes and so on. Because now many jobs will be online, so we just don't have to focus on the big cities.
And they're cheaper as well compared to Toronto.
So it's nice. Somehow it's also nice because it's allowed people also to explore other places. So yes, I mean, we are very practical. I always laugh when they ask about our plan, because we are very practical people.
And I mean, I may sound very evil right now. Sorry about that. But before moving here, I read this article which talked about if global warming happens, Canada will benefit. So, so it's like a long-term hedge. Sorry.
Yes. News.
But hope it doesn't happen.
Yeah. I hope so too, because in Germany we will have a problem.
Oh yeah. I know. No, it was a joke. I wasn't.
I know. But I've never been in Canada, so that's still on my bucket list, or on our bucket list, to explore Canada. As you guys know, for us, it's just like we don't know where we end up eventually. But I can definitely see ourselves someday live in Canada or in Norway, like just experiencing what you just said, landscape and beautiful people, because I do think that, especially being in an international relationship or multicultural relationship, it helps a lot if you, first of all, if you explore something together, if it's somehow neutral ground, as I said before, no one of you knows already. And also if you are living in a country that's basically welcoming people from other cultures. And I do feel, unfortunately, and it's so sad to say it, I do feel for most of the countries in the world, it's not the case. So you are going to have a hard time as such a couple. So basically living somewhere basically where you can just live your life, where you will not be judged for where you're from, what background you have, and
exactly.
And where you also meet people who are like you, for example, not those stereotypes, like just being open-minded people, friendly and open-minded and honest people. This is all what we're looking for.
Yeah, that's true. It's something that we don't have to take it for granted. Exactly. I mean, sometimes, like also like when we think about living in India, we love India. Like India, it's our home, but we know that there are still many barriers from a political and social point of view. And it's really something that we have to consider. And at the stage, like we need to prioritize countries where we can live our life, in the sense that we don't have these barriers with us. Like it's an open society, so we can just be us, just us, not the foreigner in India. And
and all those traditional pressure, especially in India. I mean, I know that your family, Shreyank, is very open-minded in general, but it's also okay. let's because your brother is living in the US, right?
Yes, he is.
Mentioned, so they're used to for their kids basically exploring and making friends worldwide.
Yeah, I mean, so my parents, they do come from a traditional background. The thing is, they are an arranged marriage couple. I mean, their families set their marriage, so they come from that background. They both worked really hard. So they are from originally from rural South India, and they moved to Bombay, and both from very progressive families where a lot of emphasis on education, good background, good learning, good morals, and things like that. But so they kind of expected both their children to have arranged marriages as well. but they were accepting when my brother had a love marriage. But it was kind of like a perfect match because both of them are from the same state. Like my brother and my sister-in-law, they are both from Karnataka. They both speak the same language, cultures are same, religions are same, and everything is same. So there's no problem of a there's no question of a problem arising, from the families. Both were very happy, and they are both very well educated, well settled, have great jobs. So you can't find any problem there for the families to, okay, that's not fine. You don't do
Ah,
this.
okay. Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
So, but when my parents, they don't know that I'm living here with her. They don't know that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They don't know that.
Ah,
If they know,
okay.
that will be a problem.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
So I have to do this balancing act, and
Ah,
it is any Indian has to go through this. Like
yeah.
in India, they will be so in case of my family, like my brother, uh, they were together for a long time, but only towards the end, when they were like very certain about marriage, did they tell our families that we are going to get married.
Mm-hmm.
All through the previous years, they just had hints, but they didn't know,
Mm-hmm.
because it's a very like avoid confrontational kind of attitude where you don't talk about these things openly,
Mm-hmm.
right?
I
So
understand.
yeah, so I mean, when I was like, when we are together, me and Yasmin, for her it's very natural for the families to be involved since at the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But for us, it's only at the end where you know that marriage is on the cards and
Ah,
you have
okay.
lived a lot of time together, then you tell the family.
Mm-hmm.
And I know many of your friends also who are together since ages, but their families have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
And but I know for Yasmin, it's a big deal that the family doesn't know, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I did, like, we used to have this conversation where she did say, like, your family should know about me. And I did put that thought across to my family, saying, there is Yasmin, she is my partner, and this and that. My family was very mixed in the sense that they were worried about me as my future, because they were thinking, oh God, I hope this boy doesn't focus only on love. He has to focus on his career, this, that, everything. Because they are
Mm-hmm.
very practical people, because they have seen hardships in their life, and they
Mm-hmm.
don't want their child to, be mistracked or going into a bad direction, or I don't know. So yeah, I mean, they were worried about me. They said, okay, they told me, it is your life. You do what you want to do, and in the end, we are family. We will support you, but make your life stable. Don't be like that lover who doesn't have anything, like no job, no house, or nothing like that. They're very practical people,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
that. And they are open minded. I mean, they know I am with Yasmin, they know that. And but they don't know she's here.
Okay.
So my brother knows.
Mm-hmm.
And I should not do this, but I'm kind of following my brother's footsteps,
Mm-hmm.
where he told the family towards the very end.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, it's not the best. I agree. It's not fair for her. I know that, where my family is not so aware about her, but it's kind of the society. I mean, families want to do this at the last, in a
Yeah.
way, to protect, because what would happen is, I think Indian families, they prefer continuity. I mean, they don't want to know about breakups and things like that. Okay, if you
Mm-hmm.
break up, you had that thing, you did that. That's bad. It's very bad. Bad boy. It's not good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's in a way of protecting the families, especially from the girl's side. Like, if the girl's families know that, okay, there's a girl, she has a partner, and then they broke up, it's kind of like a bad thing for the girl's family. So now we've broken up, we will have trouble finding a suitable boy for you, and things like that. It's changing. It is changing, but it's still there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
understand. So it's tough on you, Yasmin, but then it's also, is it tradition? Would you summarize it as it's not tradition, it's a cultural thing.
It's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it was not easy for me. Now, I mean, this is not like a point of discussion anymore. I mean, sometimes, but at the beginning it was terrible for me because my family, as I said, like my family, it's Italian and Brazilian. So it's a very, I don't want to generalize, but they are very open-minded families, and they always wanted to be involved from the beginning. So my mother always had this attitude, like, I want to know who you are dating. I just want to be aware. So for my family, they honestly, I was very lucky, had no problem. And my family knows Shreyank, they love him. So I also, also wanted that from my side.
Yeah.
I want to be like, I want to know his family, and be also like, get to know his house and stuff like this. But it was not possible, and I used to take it very personally at the beginning. Like, I was like, I am a good person, like I am not, because there are some negative stereotypes, like towards foreigners in India. And but I don't respect them, in the sense that I was like, I am a very humble person. I lived in India. I am a good person. Why not? Like, what's wrong with me? So, but then I understood that it's not, it's what I represent. It's not me, it's what I represent. And for them, it's a lot to take it at the moment. It's a lot. And they are worried. They are worried, and it's not. I've met them like at his brother's wedding, just hi, and Shreyank was like, "This is my friend," and so on. And they were honestly very shy and scared. And I think there I understood that it's not about me, and it's really the fact that I am something different from everything they are used to. And I think that they will accept me. It will take time, of course. And yeah. And I really understood. And also, like, I was thinking, okay, so like from the relation from our relationship, I was like, so we are not serious. Are you not serious in our relationship? I was thinking that. And it's not like this. I know that we are serious. He is serious. It's just he's protecting his parents. I somehow wanted, someone to, fight against your culture and be like this. Because also, also I know other couples, and in a international relationship, and I know that maybe they know the parents. So I used to get very jealous and say, why not? I will say, like, also knowing the Indian society, it's changed a lot on it's very Indian society. It matters a lot your status. So, and I'm not saying, of course, that but your background matters a lot. Like, the more your family is exposed to different type of societies, the more acceptance they will. I can't pretend that they will accept me like this if, like, for 60 years they've been exposed to this type of, arranged marriage, Indian girls, and so on. It will just, take time, and it's okay. I'm open now to follow their time. And sometimes I like, when I was talking with some friends of mine, I have this friend who was like, you are living the dream, you don't know your in-laws, like, this is so why are you complaining? It's like, this is the best thing to do. You just leave your relationship. Who cares? I was like, okay.
Another point of view.
Yeah, it was, but that conversation with her really changed my mind. And I was like, okay, just let's enjoy our relationship.
Yeah.
It will, like, arrive that moment when I will meet his parents.
Yeah.
I mean, just to add, it's just about comfort. I mean, as she rightly added, it's about comfort and nothing personal. I know for a fact when they meet her, they just want to be very sure about us because they want us to be in a good place. They are our parents, they want good things for us, right? It's not that they will make our lives miserable by being in between or not accepting this and that. They are not like that. I know my parents, they love me and they want me to be happy. I know that for a fact. And that's how I see it. I see it that um, the day when I tell about, I'm just actually waiting for a right moment. I mean, um, they are there with my brother right now. They're happy. They're playing with the grandchild. They're very happy. So at the right time, I will tell them when things are open. When they can meet her and just be more sure about things. They will like her. I mean, I don't see any reason why they will not like her. I mean, and whatever dreams that she will have about love and everything, I know it will happen. And also, Indians, once the first ice is broken, they will be so close that you'll be like, okay. I'm telling you, that is going to happen. I know that. Yes, that will happen. And I'm really sorry that it's one of those joys which you're not able to experience right now. But I'm sorry about that. I really am. But for me, I really can't say right now, saying, I'm living in, because living in before marriage is, oh, what are you doing? It's, but yeah. But I know they are really nice people, my parents, and they have worked so hard all their life. They want me to be happy. They want my family to be happy, right? They are not the ones to make problems or be, evil or anything like that. And they will meet. And and I remember when they met you just casually. I mean, they knew that she is not just my friend because my some of the other family members, they noticed me and Yasmin at my brother's wedding, and they were like, "Who's that girl who's always there?" And it's a big thing because it's a very big thing in India to notice these things. And first of all, she's not from India; she's come all the way abroad for a wedding, and what's happening. It's not a friend; it's something more. They know that, and that's how communication works. You give these hints. You don't say anything open. You just give these hints, and then the whole ecosystem starts.
I just sorry for laughing, but I just love the way, because obviously they somehow know, but then it's just like it's
bang on. They somehow know, but it's not known. There is a gray area there.
It's a different way of communicating.
Exactly.
And so when they know, hi, meet my friend, they know it's not just their friend. So, and I remember, I think my dad told, okay, eat properly, eat everything properly. Was it my dad?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's now but I recognize it's very hard. I mean, now honestly, I mean, it's not our priority. I mean, it's sad to say, but we are okay with that. And yeah, it was not easy because also, as I said, coming from our family comes from a very practical background. I also know that they would like the partner also to have a stable job and stuff like this, which are something that at the moment we can't really say about me. So I used to take it very bad, and my self-esteem was like, oh, so you don't want to introduce me because I'm jobless. But it's just how they think. I mean, and we can't always pretend to change stuff. And we have really to choose our battles. And it's okay like this. I mean, they are not against. That's the fact. They are not against because they know, and they are not against.
Yeah.
They're just waiting. Yeah.
For the final introduction somehow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, his brother, to be honest, took 8 years. So I just hope it's a bit less.
Yeah, you still have a few years ahead of you then, but I mean, it will all end up sooner or later, and most probably, as Shreyank just said, you might be looking back and be like, okay, those times
Yeah,
I
true.
wasn't so included into the family. But I know
Yeah.
that you Italians, you're also you're family people, like
Yeah.
all in. Like it's just so incredible. Like thinking about it, of all European countries, I think Italian are the country where people are so close to their families. It's incredible. So then it's like it's really just two opposites crashing. It couldn't be more. What's the more opposite?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
True.
yeah, but
Yeah.
eventually, as I said,
Yeah. That's true.
to get to an end. So looking back, the past few years of your relationship, all the challenges you've overcome, what advice is it you would like to give to anyone who's listening right now?
I would say patience. I mean, that one word will encompass everything else. Be patient. There will be a lot of times when words don't mean exactly how they sound, especially in our case, because there is a loss of translation sometimes. So just be patient. Don't jump to immediate conclusions. Things what seem are obvious are not always obvious. Take your time, breathe, accept mistakes where people are not perfect, relationships are not perfect. Things which you see on social media, TV, everywhere about relationships being this perfect bliss, it's not true. And you have to be very practical, accept those mistakes because they are part of the person and the relationship. And unless it's a very bad thing, and you can't accept someone who's doing very mean things, right? When I'm saying mistakes, it's about the small things where, I mean, your partner left socks on the ground or things like that. So those kind of mistakes, they're part of the person. Just talk and know that both of you are kind of in the same boat, some higher, some lower, but both are equally frustrated, both have equal mental issues or things like that. Understand more and empathize. Don't take your frustrations on your partner, and yeah, just be patient, you know.
Yeah, it's actually like it's a sort of a difficult question. I mean, there are many things, honestly, but I mean, from my point of view, I feel like saying that I mean, you are not alone in the sense that I've always felt that I don't know, misunderstood that or that people could not really understand what I was going through. And but it's all about also choosing and understanding the people around you, and like be very also careful about boundaries and about the people you wanted to share your story with, because it's not given for granted that they will understand, and they will just make you feel very lonely. But there are few people that they do understand and they do support. So like also in this process of being in a multicultural relationship, long distance relationship, like surround yourself of a community that really supports you, because okay, there is the couple and we support each other, but also sometimes we need friends support from external people, and to choose carefully, like the ones that can be part of this journey too. And but there are sometimes we have to struggle more to, like, to speak. And also also for me it's not easy to say I feel bad because Shreyank's parents don't want to meet me, so they will say, oh, he comes from a very strange culture, why is he doing that to you, that's not fair. I mean, it's his culture. I mean, it's not easy to make it understand for others. So sometimes I just don't share. But there are people that they will understand. So just protect your mental well-being also, and while communicating. I will say that's the advice at least I will give to myself to to my past self.
And before we hang up, so first of all, thank you so much for sharing valuable advice. I can, everything you just said, I can only agree with that. I just love Shreyank. Well, you said one word, patient, and then you kept on. And you gave 10 advices, which is incredible. But this is how it is. So there is no one rule or 10 rules you have to follow in such a relationship. Obviously, it always depends on which nationalities and the background, and there's so many factors you have to take into account. But in the end, when it comes to international and to multicultural relationships, we all struggle with the same, to be honest. So the base is still the same. And you, Yasmin, you were telling before that you are writing. And are you still writing, or is this something? Yeah. Where could I find you?
I'm writing. I recently opened a blog called The Masala in the Story, which masala represents, India, represents Shreyank, represents also, finding the positive side in everything. It's a shade, so I've opened this blog, and we share about our immigration journey, about our long distance relationship, about life abroad, and so on. Thank you.
So I will add that in the side notes for everyone who's interested in to check it out, and obviously also your Instagram account to connect with you.
Sure,
of course. I'm just happy for everyone who's sharing their story and who's sharing valuable advice, and also, as you just said, Jasmine, that there are people that understand in what situation you are in, and you just have to find the right people. And this is what you're doing. This is what I am doing. In the end, we are all somehow doing the same. We're struggling with the same. And it's just amazing to exchange thoughts and experiences and also advices when it comes to a point where I'd be like, okay, I know how you're feeling right now, and I can tell you it will get better because I've been there and I somehow managed to go through it as well. For example, and the same way with you, you'll be able to give advice to someone who felt the way you were feeling a few years ago when Shreyank was telling you, hey, I can't be open about our relationship right now. Give me some time, for example, So thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate your time. The 1.5 hours, a little bit more, we are just talking about relationships. And I wish you all the best for your future.
Thank you so much. You too. Thank you. It was very nice.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. As always, if you're not following us yet on Instagram and or Facebook, go ahead and do it now. It's International Love Story. And also, if you like what we're doing, please rate our podcast wherever you're listening to it. And if you do have any questions, if you do need advice, if you are maybe even in a similar situation like Yasmin and Shreyank, don't hesitate to contact us. So we're here to help, and take care. Have a lovely day, have a lovely morning, have a lovely evening, wherever you are right now, and see and hear you soon. Bye bye.